Coming up, caught on tape. Is this a Trump supporter actually being punched in the face, which could be a politically motivated hate crime? The person involved will tell their story in a few minutes. First, we begin in Chicago, leaving a massive trail of evidence. Take a look.
Smollett stated that he wanted them to appear to attack him on the evening of January 28, 2019, near his apartment building. Defendant Smollett further detailed that he wanted Abel to attack him, but not hurt him too badly, and to give him a chance to appear to fight back. Defendant Smollett also included that he wanted Ola to place a rope around his neck, pour gasoline on him, and yell, "This is MAGA country." Smollett provided Abel with a $100 bill to purchase the rope, gasoline, ski masks, gloves, and the red baseball caps, which resemble the ones that say, "Make America Great Again."
All right, that same prosecutor saying that Smollett paid two brothers to stage this attack. They even rehearsed it with a check. Paid with a check. Kind of like Jerry Springer. Pretty brilliant. Now, phone records show the actor called them before and immediately after the incident. Another brilliant move. And texts show the trio coordinating the alleged hoax. Other texts revealing that one of the brothers even sold designer drugs to Smollett. And police are now saying that Smollett likely scratched his own face to make the attack more believable. By the way, that kind of takes hating Trump psychosis to a whole new level. All occurring, of course, after Smollett allegedly sent himself a threatening racist letter containing a white powdery substance. Another genius move. We have forensics. Now, if this is all true, if this turns out to be true, nothing funny about it. Smollett wasted precious law enforcement resources in a city that has been racked with real violent crime for many, many years now. A city where young people and even women or children are shot. People are murdered every single week in Chicago, lots of them. It also appears that he used his celebrity status and race to smear and slander the people of Chicago, Trump supporters everywhere. And according to police, he did it for attention, sympathy, and because he was unhappy with his seven-figure salary. Now, the judge called these alleged actions despicable. The Chicago police superintendent, Eddie Johnson's his name, rightly outraged. This was one of the single most powerful press conferences I have ever watched. Take a look.
This announcement today recognizes that Empire actor Jussie Smollett took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career. Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations? How could someone look at the hatred and suffering associated with that symbol and see an opportunity to manipulate that symbol to further his own public profile? Bogus police reports cause real harm. They do harm to every legitimate victim who's in need of support by police and investigators, as well as the citizens of this city.
That was a powerful press conference by the police superintendent. Now, it was just 1 week ago that Smollett went on Good Morning America for an interview with Robin Roberts. This is what he said to her. Let's take a look.
How can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth. And then it became a thing of like, oh, it's not necessarily that you don't believe that this is the truth. You don't even want to see the truth. It feels like if I had said it was a Muslim or a Mexican or someone black, I feel like the doubters would have supported me a lot more. And that says a lot about the place that we are in our country right now. I respect too much the people who I am now one of those people who have been attacked in any way. You do such a disservice when you lie about things like this.
Jussie Smollett is no longer speaking with the media, although there are reports tonight that he is back on the set of Empire. His lawyers stated that they are planning a, quote, aggressive defense, and they asked that their client be given the presumption of innocence. Even though Smollett didn't afford the same noble principle to Justice Kavanaugh just a few months ago, he tweeted out, hashtag, oh, I believe Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, and much worse. Still on this show, in spite of these unfolding events, we recognize that being innocent, presumed innocent until proven guilty, and is an inalienable right, even afforded to those with no principles. And in this particular case, the evidence is beginning to look overwhelming and incontrovertible. None of it good for Mr. Smollett. Now, I remember back a while ago, I said the same thing about Michael Avenatti. I'm sure doesn't agree with much of what I say. Remember his case? But that was a he said, she said. In the end, I kept saying I will give him the due process and presumption of innocence that he never gave Judge Kavanaugh. There were 3 separate investigations, and he got cleared. In other words, they cleared him of any wrongdoing. Now, despite the massive amount of evidence against the Empire actor, you have to assume he's an innocent man until convicted in a court of law. So that is standard for anybody. But tonight, this is about so much more than an overpaid, attention-seeking, wanting a raise, Trump-hating actor. The Smollett case represents another example of what I have been saying since 07 and 08. Journalism in this country is dead. In case after case after case, the mainstream media, they devour, any story that just fits their radical, extreme extension of the Democratic Socialist Party agenda. If it advances the narrative that Donald Trump is evil and his supporters are bad and America is scary and racist and sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, the media mob will shift into full gear without performing any due diligence, without even picking up the telephone, without any kind of investigation, not even 5 minutes worth. Look at what they did to this 16-year-old Covington High School student, and of a 15-second blurb, they accused him of being a racist. They went out, they harassed him, accused him of assaulting a 65-year-old activist and getting in his face. They tried to ruin this kid's life. Slander, smearing, besmirching, character assassination. They accused Justice Kavanaugh of gang rape. Every other weekend, he and his friends were drugging teenage girls and literally, lining up in the hall for these gang rapes
you can go
that
on
nobody
forever.
ever reported.
They all ran with the story. They all never said alleged attack.
We know
they
how
never
that
said
ended. He's now a Supreme Court justice. Remember, they falsely accused UVA students of rape. Remember the Duke lacrosse players? They accused them of rape. 80-some-odd professors at Duke bought the story hook, line, and sinker without any evidence. And it turns out I actually went to meet some of the family members, some of the kids, doing my own due diligence. Now, they falsely accused Darren Wilson. Remember him? He used to be a police officer. His career's over. George Zimmerman, everybody was saying he was guilty, but there was an eyewitness that showed up. Several police in Baltimore, everybody was assured they're going to get guilty pleas. None of them did. And guess what? As we speak, they're falsely accusing President Trump of Russia collusion. That, too, is a hoax, while simultaneously ignoring what is now a mountain of evidence of the single biggest abuse of power corruption scandal in history, where they tried to rig an election and then undo an election in the United States. In the era of Trump, far-left hoaxes, way too common. The media, way too complicit. But they buy these stories again and again, hook, line, sinker, vilifying innocent people in the process over and over again. When the stories are exposed, when the lies are revealed, so-called journalists at so-called news organizations, they move on. They just pretend like it never happened. Well, like NBC News, they were talking all about this till this started happening. They were all over the Jussie Smollett story. Look, Hills, Joe Concha, monitored all of MSNBC Conspiracy TV's primetime shows. They totally ignored the charges against Smollett now. After they were pushing the hate crime narrative for weeks and weeks, they just act now like it never happened. NBC News, prominent Democrats, they employ the same tactic. Far-left presidential frontrunner Kamala Harris, just like Cory Booker, calling the Smollett incident a modern-day lynching. Today, after a meeting with the Reverend Al Sharpton, she totally ignored any questions about Smollett. Take a listen.
Senator, can you tell us something about Jussie Smollett?
Senator, can you comment on Smollett's case?
You guys think you can defense of Jussie Smollett too early?
How's it feel to be in Harlem?
Reverend, is this bad for the party week? Mo, what do you think about Jussie Smollett? Did you jump into the smoking gun defense too early?
Comment on the Smollett case?
Now, Senator Harris has since put out a statement saying that she's sad, all while taking a veiled shot, of course, at President Trump. That never stops. Meanwhile, fake news CNN has just discovered something called due process. They're now urging all of us not to rush to judgment, which is a joke. This after running wild with speculation about the so-called Smollett attack. Interesting timing. Take a look.
This is a Jackie Robinson against homophobia in the black community, an icon, a beloved icon. And now you have the fall of an icon at a time when we need icons, when we need heroes, when we need people who stand up. So the level of betrayal, if this is true,
Yes.
is so deep. You can see it in your voice. You can see it in your face. It's almost hard to get the words out because of how beloved he has been. We still don't know everything. And I don't want to see us rush to judgment on this side, rush to judgment on that side, condemn this, condemn that. That's the part of the thing we've been talking about, is that we're now in this cycle where everybody's got to have an instant, complete opinion every 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Isn't that the same guy that said on election night, this is a white lash? Well, you should tell that to all of his colleagues who are constantly pushing fake news so long as it fits their hate Trump mob mentality media. Listen to radio talk show host Rush Limbaugh today. He summarized the state of the media pitch perfect. Take a look.
The left is nothing but phony hate crimes, phony alleged hate crimes, phony charges, made-up stories. They know these things probably aren't true, but they want them to be, and that's why they report them as true. They think this is what America is. In the mind of the American left, these crimes are happening everywhere. Even if the Smollett case isn't real, it's real elsewhere, and we must raise consciousness. The media is signing on to it. The celebrities are signing on. Presidential candidates are signing on to it and tweeting what a rotten place America is because of it.
Now, Rush is right. The mob's disgusting bias, it is obvious, both from what they obsess over and what they choose to sweep under the rug. For example, on Tuesday, pro-Trump activists recruiting students for the conservative group Turning Point USA was violently assaulted at UC Berkeley. Watch this. Dead and buried. First, more on our top story tonight. Joining us live from Chicago and our affiliate WFLD Fox 32 reporter Raffer Weigel. You know how many people are giving me crap because you gave me crap for, jeez.
All right, listen, I just want to thank you, Sean, for extending my contract after giving me the pink slip 3 days ago. So I really do appreciate you bringing me back on.
I was kidding, and you obviously kidding, but you've been doing great work.
You're a good man.
All right, what's the latest? This is a serious topic, obviously.
Yeah, it absolutely is. You know, you were talking about Superintendent Eddie Johnson earlier when he gave his press conference. That was the most demonstrative that I have ever heard Eddie Johnson at any press conference. The phrase he gave was, "This is not TV, this is real life," and real life is coming hard and fast to Jussie Smollett, right to the fact that this man, Abel, one of the two alleged attackers, was his former drug dealer, and even down to what Jussie Smollett wanted them to do and say in the attack. Take a listen.
Defendant Smollett also stated he wanted the brothers to catch his attention by calling him an Empire F, Empire N. Defendant Smollett further detailed that he wanted Abel to attack him, but not hurt him too badly, and to give him a chance to appear to fight back.
And even the judge had some fiery rhetoric for Smollett, saying that he is presumed innocent until proven guilty. But if these statements are true, the judge saying it is outrageous and despicable. And he described the noose that Jussie Smollett used as a symbol of evil in this country. Now, just a few moments ago, I got a statement from Jussie Smollett's lawyers, and I'm going to read it to you so I get it right. Not the whole thing, just the beginning part. It says, "Today we witnessed an organized law enforcement spectacle that has no place in the American legal system. The presumption of innocence, a bedrock in the search for justice, was trampled upon at the expense of Mr. Smollett, and notably on the eve of a mayoral election." So they are claiming politics is behind all of this. They're giving every indication that they're going to fight this. His next court date is on March 14th. Sean?
All right. Raffer Weigel reporting for us tonight in Chicago. Great report. Thank you. Joining us now with more on this breaking news story is Fox News correspondent at large, Geraldo Rivera, former Florida Circuit Court judge, host of Whistleblower on CBS. Alex Ferrer is with us. Judge, good to see you. Geraldo, I want to start with you.
Good to see you, Sean.
That evidence that is now being presented both to the grand jury, leading to the indictment, presented before this judge, Geraldo, is overwhelming. These text messages detail the video of these kids. You know,
how much on your belly are you crawling that you would do this, spitting on the memory of Emmett Till and all those who fell in the civil rights movement in the Jim Crow era, and
the fact that this was not just premeditated. This wasn't something that happened in a bar and he thought, let me expand on it, let me embellish it and get some mileage out of it. This was a cold, calculated premeditation from the initial letter to the attack.
Hope that the feds don't indict me on mail fraud, which I expect.
If he's going to do that, do it now so you don't have 24 detectives wasting more time on this.
Now it was too soon. They let the case age. Let something else happen. Let Michael Cohen go to court. Let the president make peace with North Korea. Let other things happen, and then he can do it in the quiet, relative quiet of a couple of weeks from now.
All right, amazing commentary from both of you tonight.
He should get nailed. He should get nailed.
All right, when we come back, all right, fake news. CNN's Don Lemon takes a little swipe at me.
Familiar scene, a showdown in Venezuela.
Next, also, we will. All right, fake news. CNN's Don Lemon. He claims to be a so-called journalist. He's not. I met him in person. He's actually a nice guy. Was nice to me last night. Back in January, in the immediate aftermath of Smollett's hate crime allegations, Lemon rushed to support the Empire actor. Despite obvious red flags, Lemon publicly doled out sympathy to Smollett. In fact, the CNN host told Entertainment Tonight that he texted Smollett every day following the incident. Now that the actual facts are coming in, now Don's trying to spin the story and even blame me, like I'm responsible. I'm apparently running the world and everything else. Take a look.
This is playing out every single moment in cable news. Sean Hannity's going to eat Jussie Smollett's lunch every single second. Tucker Carlson is going to eat Jussie Smollett's lunch every single second.
President of the United States.
The President of the United States is going to eat his lunch. And who does the President of the United States watch every night?
You.
Cable news. Well, cable news.
You know, the interesting part is I purposely stayed away from the story to wait for more facts to come in. My sources in Chicago almost instantly were warning me, be careful on this story. Now, Don, everyone knows you hate Trump. You're part of the hate Trump media. You pretend to be objective. You're not. So why don't you just admit you're a talk show host like me? Be honest with your viewers. Joining us now is America First Action Senior Advisor Sean Spicer, media reporter for The Hill, Joe Concha. Good to see you both. You know, Joe, something fascinating you discovered and wrote about. Wow, everybody over at Conspiracy TV, NBC over there, they were all over this story in the beginning. How much coverage was in primetime last night?
In primetime MSNBC, if you're talking about, now remember, the Chicago police announced at 7:53 p.m. that Smollett would be charged. That means the 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and 11 p.m. shows.
That's called primetime. Yeah.
Primetime, right. Chris Hayes, Rachel Maddow, Lawrence O'Donnell, Brian Williams, who used to be the NBC news anchor. They covered it.
The same Brian Williams that saw dead bodies floating where there was no water?
Maybe why he's now at MSNBC at 11 o'clock instead of NBC at 6:30 at night. But they covered it for 0 minutes. And look, opinion shows I give a lot of leeway to because it's the editorial page. The problem here, the issue for MSNBC here, Sean, is the fact that they covered this story heavily when the narrative fit what they thought their audience wanted to hear. This was custom made for an MSNBC audience as it was presented in the beginning. 2 white males attack a gay black actor with bleach and a noose.
And a MAGA hat.
And a MAGA hat yelling, "This is MAGA country." And despite the fact there are many questionable parts about this story from the very beginning, and I withheld judgment as well, as in what are 2 men walking around Chicago in a polar vortex in 30 below degree weather, waiting for a gay actor they probably have never seen on TV before, prepared for that very moment. And then once Smollett wasn't handing over phone records or they're heavily redacted, that's when you knew there was a problem. But MSNBC and NBC and a lot of other news outlets, not Chicago media, they did a great job here. They went ahead and presented it as an attack, as if it were fact, instead of using that key word, alleged, and now it's coming back to bite everybody.
You know, Sean, let me put it in context. Besides missing the biggest abuse of power corruption scandal in history and the hate, Trump mob mentality media, going with every story that's anti-Trump. Proven wrong, they just move on to the next story, act like it never happened. You know, look at how often they have been wrong. I had Richard Jewell's attorney on, Lynn Wood, who I've known since 1996. We went back that far, but then it's UVA, then it's Duke Lacrosse, then it's Cambridge Police, then it's Zimmerman Trayvon, then it's Ferguson, then it is Baltimore. It's not vetting Obama. It's not after 8 years telling the real statistics of failure of Obama. It is.
I'm all for forgiveness, Sean, but this individual hasn't even admitted his problem. He hasn't admitted the crime. And Don Lemon's rushing and saying that I'm more concerned about him than the thousands of people who didn't have police resources at the time.
We have 24 detectives.
And further,
Sean.
hold on.
Yeah.
But, right, so there's 24 detectives assigned that weren't doing other things for the people of Chicago. But furthermore, this concern that everybody has about fake news and further divide, this is exactly what it was happening. But it was inspired by the left, and now they want to ignore it. That's a problem.
By the way, are you really working for Extra Extra? Congratulations.
I am.
That's actually awesome.
Great.
Good for you. Joe, we'll give you a quick 20 seconds. Go ahead. Wrap it up.
I think in the end, Sean, MSNBC didn't cover this last night because they were afraid their audiences would be offended in their safe spaces. As if we don't give them comfort food and tell them what they want to hear, then they're going to go somewhere else. People need to be told what they need to hear instead of what they want to hear. And we're seeing that across a lot of news organizations at this point. Just report the news and don't worry about the feelings of your audiences in these cases.
Larry Logan was on with us last night. 90% of the media is left, and they're wrong. To the point where.
And now they're calling her, by the way, now they're calling her a conservative. The second that she didn't go along with the neighborhood, they dismissed her.
I have no idea what her politics are. But when you get to the point you're willing to destroy a 16-year-old kid and not even make a phone call to find out if what the 10 seconds you're looking at is true, that's why these companies are going to pay. I know Lynn Wood. He is unrelenting. We'll see. All right. Thank you both. All right. Wait till you hear how much of a hypocrite